What's up, guys? This is Brian from Night's Edge. We're a metal hard rock band out of Baltimore, Maryland. Been together since 2018. And we're here with metalrules.com to talk to you guys for 10-15 minutes, tell you a little bit about Night's Edge and what we've been up to. So first, right off the bat, there are three of us in Night's Edge. I'm Brian Haran. I sing and I'm playing bass right now until we possibly find a permanent bassist, maybe. If not, I'll just keep on playing bass. We also have Damon Rommel, who plays guitar. He joined back in 2023. And we have Dan Hunt, who plays drums, and he has been with Night's Edge for a long time. He joined back in 2019. And the three of us, myself, Damien, and Dan, that is Night's Edge. And Night's Edge really doesn't fit super neatly into any one subgenre. We really borrow from a lot of different subgenres of rock and metal. And I really don't feel like our sound necessarily sounds like any one specific thing. So we pull a lot from alternative metal. We pull a lot from symphonic and gothic metal. We have quite a bit of prog rock incorporated. We have some post-hardcore. We have a little bit of industrial. We are really all over the place. But what really ties our music together is extremely anthemic choruses and really juicy melodies and harmonies, like very big melodic moments. There's always a couple of headbanging moments in each song, like a breakdown here or there, or a chunky riff, or just something to get you moving. We like to throw those in there. We like to have really killer guitar solos and kind of over-the-top vocals in places, and a lot of like gothic, creepy atmosphere. I'm wearing my Disintegration t-shirt, so love The Cure, love goth music, and also specifically gothic metal, so like Typo Negative and Paradise Lost and Draconian and stuff like that. So really mixing all that stuff in together to kind of get a sound that brings together the directness and attitude of American rock and roll with the sense of grandiosity and beauty that comes with like European metal. So think Nightwish, Within Temptation, things like that, and just mixing that all together into something that's pretty different. Night's Edge is definitely pretty different, and that desire to kind of integrate attitude with grandiosity and like heaviness with beauty is a big part of like what our drive is to create music and why we write music. And also just because the sounds that we hear, that we want to hear in music and that we put into our own, are not necessarily out there in other places. So if we want to listen to it, we have to make it, because what we're doing doesn't really sound like anybody else right now. So yeah, definitely we create because our vision is our own. So that's definitely part of it. So the band name Night's Edge it's like a specific feeling, a vibe. When, not only when you're young, but definitely when you're young, maybe also when you're older. I mean, I still feel this some ways, but when you are getting ready for a big night, whether that's like a big night out on the town partying, or if it's you have a big performance that evening, or if it's just like an important night to you, like maybe you're very into Halloween, like I am. The feeling of kind of anticipation that is in the air and also goes through you when the sun starts to go down, when it starts to cool off a little bit. Maybe there's like a little breeze or something, and you're already kind of hyped up just from the anticipation of the night. But then also just the way that the world turns around you, it just takes that existing anticipation and turns it up to 11. That feeling right there, that moment in time, that place, you're on the edge of night. Night's Edge. So that's where the band name comes from. We're trying to I don't know if we're necessarily trying to capture that specific thing, because we try and capture a lot of different things depending on the song, the album, but that was definitely the origin, was that feeling of anticipation and excitement and nervousness a little bit. I think the idea of being on the edge of night also really works very well with our sound of kind of playing on the edge of extremity while also keeping it accessible and light. The light's the wrong word. Our music is not necessarily light. The thematic elements of our music get pretty heavy. Although we always have like a wink with everything that we try and do. But speaking of lyrics and music, we have a new album that is coming out this August 21st, 2025, if you're watching this from the future. And that album is called The World That Never Was. This is our 4th album, and it is by far better than everything we've ever done. I know every band says that, but it really is. It really is just the next level of Night's Edge. And it also is... It's familiar and consistent with what we've already done, but at the same time, it is a clear just leap forward into something better, into something new, into something different. The pre-release singles are already out, depending on what time you're watching this. Our first single, If You Love Me, we put out back in March. Second single, Someone to Stay, we put out in May. Right now it is the end of May, so in a couple weeks, on June 6th, we're putting out Smite, which is it's a banger. That's going to be a good one. And then on July 10th, we're putting out Love Fiction. And that will be the last pre-release single before the album, which is coming out on August 21st. That album, The World That Never Was. It is our 4th. So that album, the lyrics really dig into the idea of one's self-image and losing that to a variety of different things. So say if you have a tenuous kind of self-image, you can lose it into rage, into lust, into obsession, into whatever. So it explores kind of the replacement of oneself with something else, and kind of how these external things and external feelings, when brought into a empty vessel, can really just explode and feel so huge. Like when there is no identity within yourself and you don't necessarily have feelings or thoughts or motivations for yourself, how these external things, when they come in, can just define a person. So that's kind of what the album gets into. There's also a 3-part little sci-fi Twilight Zone parable at the end that takes that concept and turns it up to 11 with fantasy elements and all sorts of crazy stuff. So definitely check that part out. The artwork on the album it's an image of a man falling through the sky, and as he falls, he turns into like a ghostly astral form. And that really sums up a lot of the elements of the album of kind of losing oneself into just an unknown, into a strange world. It's hard to put specifically into words right on the spot, but the album deals with not only that loss of self, but also just the disorientation of it, of awareness and one's place in the midst of everything. And that disorientation is also kind of reflected in the album, where the album art, where this individual who's falling through the sky just evaporates into a spectral form because he's melted into something that is no longer concrete. So that's where the album art is from. You know, real light, breezy, easy stuff, not heady at all. But it is our best album. We cover so much ground on it. There are epic songs, there are fun songs, there are heavy songs, there are romantic songs, and all of them contribute something a little bit different, but it all sounds like Night's Edge, which doesn't really sound like much else. Check it out if you like progressive rock, alternative rock, symphonic metal. we really cover a lot of bases and we cast a wide net. I really think what we're doing is something different. So give it a listen. So enough about us. Let's talk about the local music scene in Baltimore. So Baltimore has a very fun local metal scene. It's where all of our fans and all of our friends are. Everybody's real silly. Shows will have crab pits where people are bouncing into each other but doing little crab pinchers in the air because Maryland, Baltimore, the crab. It's a thing if you didn't know that. Conga lines, mosh pits, just craziness, row pits. It's a lot of fun. The scene is very insular. Not insular. Insular is the wrong word. Very tight. We're not insular because we're very open to other people. Like, please come see a show. But it is tight in that everybody who is in the scene is friends. We're all buds. We all hang out at shows and outside of shows. That's actually where myself, Dan, and Damien all met each other, was at shows. Then we ended up in a band together. So, what's some new music that I like? I think 2024 had some really awesome releases. For starters, one of my favorite bands right now, Seven Spires. Their most recent album, Fortress Called Home, was spectacular. Killer album. Really over the top, like progressive symphonic metal, which is right down my alley. A lot of the things that they bring to the table with like their dark, brooding atmosphere and really introspective lyrics. It's just like, if there was a list of things that I like in music, it just checks them. Like, it's like, oh yeah, this was made for me. That was an awesome album. The new Opeth was killer. The new Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere, what a killer and just unique sounding album. And then from a not metal corner, the new Bill Murray album, American Motorsports. I hate pop country, and I really don't like easycore either, but for some reason, if you put them together, I really enjoy whatever Bill Murray is up to right now. I think his music's killer. So 2024 was a great year for music. We'll see what else comes out in 2025. We'll see what else we get. So, future plans for Night's Edge. We have an album to get out. It is May right now. There's an album we are putting out in 3 months. Beyond that, I am sure we're going to continue making music. There will be an album number 5 in a couple years. But right now, we just got to focus on what we're doing. We got to get this album out. We got to promote. We got to play shows. We got to push it as hard as we can. So, want to thank you guys for having me. Thank you to metalrules.com. And I'm going to end off with, why does metal rule? Metal rules for a number of reasons. The music itself is awesome. It's awesome. Like, heavy music just touches on a side of a person that other types of music do not bring out. Other types of music do not get my blood going in the same way. Metal is also open to so much breadth and experimentation. Metal bands can sound like a million different things. And I really like that metal incorporates so much kind of, even non-goth bands have like just darkness and like that gothic dark beauty just like flowing in the undercurrent. Even if it's not a gothic band, I still feel it. Like, kind of that interest and intrigue in the darkness is something that metal really brings out. Not to mention the community. Metalheads are awesome. Partying with metalheads, drinking beer with metalheads, and just talking about metal. If you are a metalhead and you go to a place where there is metal with other metalheads and you talk to them about metal, you have friends. You have a family. Like, you're there. That is the cost of entry. So metal is the greatest. I love metal. Listen to it every day. Play in a metal band. So I'm Brian. I'm from Night's Edge. I want to thank you guys again. Until next time.